You're listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast, discussing all aspects of precision and long-range rifle shooting. This episode is brought to you by Impact Dynamics. And now, over to your hosts.
Well, hello and welcome to the Precision Shooting Podcast. My name is Rusty. This is episode 117, despite me putting it up on Patreon on the live feed as episode 116. Sorry, Patreon supporters, if you are watching. Joining me in the studio, well, we call it studio, in the room tonight, to my right, Andy Little. How are you, mate?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Good. And over there, Bronte Jackman.
How you doing, mate?
I'm going all right. And you?
Well, thank you.
Good. You're looking nervous.
Yeah, okay. I'll take your word for it.
Okay, good. I guess we don't have any mirrors in here.
We're all counting on him for the wisdom.
You're going to have to.
You're shit out of luck today, man.
Oh, good. Well, what are we? We're something June, early in June, and we've had a pretty busy, exciting May. Well, I certainly have. How about you guys?
Yeah, pretty full on.
Mm-hmm.
Last weekend I was flat out with birthdays.
Yes,
So
good.
unfortunately missed the range that weekend, but
Yeah.
you know, family commitments.
Well, Bronte and I made up for it.
Yeah, we've done a bit of shooting and got away for a full driving trip / shooting trip. So
Oh.
can't argue with that.
Oh, got to
Nice.
hear about that. What went on? All right. Look, it sounds like I asked that wrong
No. It's
question.
just good fun. There were a few lessons learnt, not necessarily by myself, but you know,
Okay.
some of these people that grow up in the city don't realise that you don't drive over rabbit warrens. It seems to be quite an obvious thing to me, but yeah.
Makes sense.
So the poor old ranger got bellied out on the rabbit warrens, but
No.
fortunately, the winch come to the rescue. So no
Okay.
digging involved. It was pretty entertaining, but it was good fun.
And did the rabbits feature as well throughout the other activities on the weekend?
Yeah, absolutely, and the foxes as well, which
Oh,
was
wow.
quite surprising because they normally do a bit of baiting in that area. So it's the first time that I've been there and had substantial foxes. I think we've sort of got 20 odd foxes over the weekend nearly,
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good. That's good effort. Yeah, right.
and quite a few cats. So
Well, that's even better.
cats are worth at least 3 foxes.
Oh, at least. Right, Andy?
Yeah, they're pretty sneaky.
Yeah.
I don't usually see many around
Right.
when I've been out
You're
spotlighting.
still being fooled.
Yeah.
We actually got a couple in the daylight, which was quite entertaining. There was one down in a creek that thought he was safe, but he was mistaken.
I'm sure I've told this story, but I remember once heading up to a property and we were driving up and we were on the road that the property was on. We were getting there and this cat ran across the road. Dutchie was in the car actually. And we pulled up the side of the road and all 4 of us jumped out and just ran after this cat into this paddock. Didn't really think it through because we had nothing to do. You know, we'd just be literally grabbing it by hand if we ever caught it. We didn't. We were just pretty excited about being way hunting and saw a cat. We tried, and I'm not sure we did much else because we were probably all worn out from the run at the beginning of the trip. Anyway, that's all right. And then we shot a comp on the weekend. Bronte and I shot the same comp.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
That's kind of cool, and we were only missing you, Andy. You
It's
were
a shame.
busy partying.
Yeah, that's it.
I like the way you said that. Just you don't care. Yeah. Okay, good.
It's my normal Thursday night.
Yeah. Thursday night, big night. So we shot a rimfire comp, practical shooting SA, our local club, and Bronte did pretty well. He got the people's win.
Yeah, I think that's just like an encouragement award.
No, well, okay. So you came third overall. I think.
Participation award.
Yeah, pretty
One.
much. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Yeah, you came third out of 2, so that was pretty good.
At least it's not as bad as the most improved, because that sucks.
Is that what you got? Is it, Andy?
Yeah. I always get that.
So we ended up, what do we have, like 18 people or something? 16?
It was about that. It was
something like that.
a reasonable number.
Yeah, so I was happy. I came in 5th. I was pretty stoked with that. And then who was between you and I? I don't remember.
Dave, maybe.
Could be. Yeah, could be. Probably was.
Yeah,
Dave,
he's pretty good.
Dave Pierce, yeah. And then you were in 3rd, but let's clarify why we think you won, because the guys who came in 1st and 2nd came in on the same score and only came decided by time, by about 10, 15 seconds on a stage. So Simon Plush came in 1st and Travis Harris came in 2nd, right? Both on 72 or whatever, it doesn't matter. Except that all the stages that we used for the weekend were designed by Trav, right, for the Monado Meltdown. And he came effectively equal first. And Simon was the match director, and he came first.
And
So-
Simon also shot
He shot the meltdown as well.
before. So he's had experience on
So
those barricades.
based on that, we pretty much disqualified those two guys for what's the word, insider trading, and therefore we took a vote, and the vote was out of one, and it was my vote, and I voted Bronte the winner. So well done, Bronte, good job.
I guess you got to win by technicality occasionally.
Well, let's give it some more clarity. You do have an excuse. What was your good excuse?
Well, it was only right that I let Simon beat me on the basis that I was borrowing his gun.
That's right.
And the first shot that I fired in the competition was the first time I actually ever shot that rifle.
Yeah, so I mean, like you
But-
won by miles, mate.
In saying that, as much as I wanted to condemn those Ruger Precisions just because you want to pick on them, it shot really bloody well.
Yeah,
I actually really couldn't. I couldn't fault it. It was
okay.
the shots that I missed, 100% me, and it put the little piddly 22 projectile exactly where I pointed it. So
Brilliant.
can't argue with that.
Okay, very good. Well done. Congratulations on your moral victory. And I think I'd take the claim. So therefore, I came third. Oh, I'm happy with that.
Top three
on the
finish. There you
podium.
go. Giddy up.
Nice.
Smashed you, Andy. Smashed you, mate.
That's all right.
And so going back a match, there was a match before that, the weekend before that you shot, Andy. What was that?
That was what's that called? The Precision Rimfire Challenge.
Practical, I think. Practical
Practical?
Rimfire Challenge.
Practical
Yeah,
Rimfire.
PRC.
Yeah. That was the night shoot.
How was that?
Yeah, that was really cool. And, well done to the guys who set that all up and put in the massive hours and the time and the effort to set up all the lights, the targets, just the stages in general. They were really involved, really good variety. And, I was pretty impressed with all the extra lighting they had to run around everywhere. And, it was really good fun.
Yeah, I haven't actually shot one of those matches myself, but I have went to the first one they put on, and credit where credit's due. They did a sensational job. Very creative with their targets, and it was some pretty cool stuff they were doing, and it was fantastic to see.
Absolutely, they certainly take a big inspiration from the IPSC side of things, and all that additional dynamic, and some of the scoring from that as well. Yeah,
I love how you can pretty much it's as similar to IPSC as you can get without running a handgun. I think.
Well, they do IPSC rifle.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah. Yeah, but often the scoring in PRC is like a combination of PRS style scoring and IPSC scoring
Yeah, right. Okay.
as well. Anyway,
Learn something new every day.
so
I enjoy it.
What was it like shooting night match?
No, it was really good. Obviously, at night time, your depth perception's a little bit out.
Mine's not great during the day, but okay.
Would that? Well, it's a silly question, but it's only 22s. You're only relatively close range.
I'm
Does
not-
it matter?
Not 100% sure. I think the furthest target might have been about 75.
Okay, so it matters enough depending on the size of the target.
Yeah, some of them were quite small. I did miss some close ones because I held high, thinking they were really close, but
They weren't as close as you thought.
I went over.
Yeah, they have the one match I shot, Bronte. They had some really tiny. Like we're talking like. I know no one can see at home, but they're
like
you
20
can imagine what I'm
20
doing
piece,
right now.
20-cent piece sort of size.
Yeah, if not less, actually. That match I shot.
After that first match, I had a bit of I think they did a challenge of shooter v shooter.
Yes, that was
with
great.
the KYL rack.
Yeah.
And that last target on the KYL rack was
tiny.
pretty bloody small.
Yeah.
You just kind of aim for the stem, I think.
That may have been part of the strategy when I shot it.
Good move.
Yep.
Good move. So, yeah, okay. And was it did you have a spotlight or were the targets lit up or were you just shooting in the dark and then work out afterwards what you hit?
Yeah, so most of the stages had their own lighting.
Okay.
There was one stage you used your own light or you borrowed a torch from someone else.
Yep.
And then one of the stages was complete darkness, but they used it's like not glow in the dark paint, but it gets bright with infrared, not infrared. What are they called?
Ultraviolet.
Ultraviolet. That's the one.
Oh, okay.
So they painted the targets with that, and then they had some ultraviolet.
They had blue lights or
fluoros.
something like
yeah,
that.
and they were
So the targets would just glow.
yeah, they'd glow a little bit. But after a while, after they'd been shot a few times, it was quite hard to see the, see the glow.
Lead splatter.
Yep.
Were you permitted to use like illuminated reticles? Because that I would have thought would be a pretty damn good advantage in that sort of setting.
Yeah. That's going to be an upgrade.
Oh,
So the answer was yes, but you didn't have one.
Yep.
Okay.
Especially on, a couple of them really struck because the other ones were low light or they'd have flashing lights. So it would sort of, you'd only see a reticle for a split second. But most of the time I was holding like center scope because I couldn't see my reticle.
Yeah, wow.
Okay.
So
I've got to say, I never used to. And that was because I had really shitty, cheap scopes at the time and I was doing a lot of spotlighting when I was younger. But now having better, better quality scopes, I'd use illumination spotlighting all the time. It just gives you so much nicer point of aim, really crisp, really clean. No doubt where your crosshairs are.
Yeah, agreed. Certainly when I was spotlighting a lot, if I had illumination, it would be on. It'd be on really low, just enough to pick up.
Gives it a little bit extra contrast.
Yeah, but it was good.
I think I came fifth.
Came fifth.
Okay.
I
think there were 50.
Well, it's not a bad result.
So
47 or something. 48.
Yeah.
Anyway, 50ish.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
so I was
really good.
Pretty happy with that. Considering there were a few stages where it was very low light and I just, was guessing half the time. So I was pretty stoked with that.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Nice. And congratulations to Sean Milner.
Yes. Yep.
From STS Targets for taking it out. Done,
Absolutely, that's a good
done
result.
well, Sean. Done well. I know he's can be a bit of a dark horse. Like he always downplays how much practice he doesn't do and this and that. But he comes
nobody
out.
ever admits to doing lots of practice in case they have a bad day.
I'll definitely admit to doing no practice.
Mind you, I have actually had the opportunity to shoot his Anschutz 22 that he's got. That thing.
Shoots side stink.
200 metres, you're putting a 2-inch group at 200 metres with a 22.
Yeah, right. Nice.
You can't. Well, in my experience, I've never seen rimfire shoot much better than that.
Yeah, right.
So that's. But obviously, that doesn't take away the fact you still have to do.
Oh yeah, you've got to perform. Yeah, totally, absolutely. Nice, and we'll wind the clock back a little bit more, and we end up at the Kestrel Monado Meltdown, which none of us shot. Woohoo! We all headed down for. You were there for a part of a day, Bronte.
Yeah, unfortunately, life got in the way of that one.
It's life. And then Andy, you were target bitch, as well as helping on stages.
Yeah, I'm pretty glad that helicopter hat didn't come out. I was sort of dreading that. I was like, when's this bloody hat gonna get pulled out? And anyway,
I think everyone forgot.
Yeah, good. I had a really great time. It was actually really enjoying the other side of how a match works.
Okay.
Just setting stuff up, being first up, running down range, setting up targets. Yeah, it was pretty cool to be a part of all of that.
Do you find that you learnt a fair bit, like observing a match? I mean, not observing. You were hands on in it, but like a lot of people think, you don't actually get to shoot, and therefore you just What was your experience from doing it?
Yeah, so I think you definitely take away a lot just by watching other people, how they set up. They make sure they go over, they check everything before that beep goes, and then just obvious things like, yes, remember that, because that's how I'll run that stage if I ever see it again.
Yeah. Okay.
So did you notice? Obviously, that sort of event. There's not bad shooters as such, but there are some guys that are always at the top and I'll always perform very well. Did you notice much difference in the differing levels of experience and how they approach the stages you're on? Because obviously, the guys that have been shooting it for a while have seen a lot of these things or something very similar before. Did they all kind of do it the same way, or was there variation in the top guys, or was there?
Yep. I think the main thing is the guys who are more experienced and know exactly what position and what tools they're going to use on the stage. Do well. Because I was on the kayak stage.
Yep.
And just the awkward position sitting in that kayak and trying to get stable. Obviously, some people have done that sort of skill where you're lying back and shooting like off your leg, I believe.
Yep.
Not sure what skill is, but they,
I'm not really sure what you're doing here anyway, but hopefully our Patreon supporters could let us know.
but obviously they've been in that sort of awkward position or sitting position with their legs out, stretched in front, and they knew exactly what to do, whether that's putting a bag between their knees and holding the bag with their knees and the rifle on that, leaning back, or leaning forwards over their backpack. They just knew how to run that, where other people would sort of try one thing, not get comfortable, move around side to side, forwards, back, and then get comfortable, and then maybe squeeze off 3 or 4 shots, and that's
and then hear that beep.
Yeah. So,
I did see a couple of guys sit down by the cars there and on that stage and like assume the position with their bag and pretending to hold a rifle and just practicing in. I guess that's often the guys who are a bit more serious or have more experience at spending that time rather than just chatting away, actually doing some of that.
Because I think the target was only, I think that might have been a 200-meter target. It wasn't very far away.
Couldn't have been further.
And it was only, I think, a 6-inch square, 6x6, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Or was it 8? Anyway,
you fixed it.
But it was a reasonably generous target. But obviously, that awkward position, and some people knew exactly what to do, and others just fumbled around a bit. And I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, just knowing what position to get into. Any other lessons you took away from being a stage officer for the weekend?
No, I pretty much know everything.
Yep, fair enough. Good job.
I don't
So
know.
you'll be winning Steelpocalypse then, a Little River. It'll be all you.
I don't know. I'm sure something will spring to mind in a minute.
Yeah, it's all right. Good. Enjoy yourself.
Yes. Yeah, I did.
And Bronte, from your point of view, walking around and just sort of seeing it as the casual observer, and obviously having seen plenty of club matches run on that same range, what were your thoughts on it?
I thought it was a really well set up event. I think they made great use of the range with the number of shooting positions they had. Because one of the challenges with a range environment when you've got too many stages too close together is was that my beep or your beep, or was that for me or you, or that sort of thing. I think how they laid that out and sort of had that sort of staging area back a little bit further behind was a really, really well thought out setup of that range, and I think it went, from what I saw, it looked like it was running really, really well.
One little point that for anyone listening, if you are shooting PRS match, club match, or whatever you're shooting, if you hear a beep, and unless you're the only one on the entire range doing it, right? If you hear a beep, keep shooting until your RO tells you to stop, because the chances of you hearing a beep from somewhere else is really high, and all you should be focused on is doing your shooting. And then, often a good RO will say time or stop or something along those lines when the beep goes off to signal to you that it's you to stop. And so I highly encourage you. I see too many guys hear a beep and just stop.
You go, was that me?
And
keep going.
No,
What?
keep going.
What?
Keep going.
What? Yeah. Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and because they've been standing back with the guys watching, and they hear that, they get attuned to a beep that's relatively quiet because they're 5-10 meters back from the beep. Then when they're right next to it, it sounds about the same volume. It's actually the next stage over, which is still 10-15 meters away. So it's not really close. And then when they do hear the correct beep, they'll know about it because it's quite loud. But tell you what, just keep shooting until someone tells you, hey, stop. Just relax. You're much better off to do that because if they tap you on the shoulder and that's when to stop, then okay, great. Good. Anyway, sorry. Side note.
Yeah, so something else I just thought of then, picked up, being on a stage, is the spotting experience is definitely worthwhile.
You gain a lot?
Yeah, just being able to have like good focus down range and just see what the other people are doing and where they're hitting.
Or not hitting.
Because I don't know about other spotters, but I usually like to place myself where I can see out one side, I can see the shooter and see what's happening.
Yep.
And then as soon as I see them sort of settle into a position, I'm looking down range. It was just good to see also where they're impacting. Some people would constantly hit high, and I'm not sure if they're not seeing their splash or not seeing, but they wouldn't correct. They'd just zero it or maybe get one hit. other people would be dancing all over, and some people would miss one and do that single correction and then just nail it.
Yep.
And I think that, being able to spot your impacts or misses, would be huge. And just as a spotter, just being able to see the, next time I'm shooting, okay, that's what I'm looking for. If I miss, that little kick of dust or that little kick of dirt.
Starting to read the fall of shot really well.
Mm.
Yeah, best part of learning while you're spotting is someone else is paying for the ammo.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is good.
Just a bit of a left field one. Do any of you guys look at where other people have hit the target and then sort of, it's more so on your very first shot, look at where everybody else is hitting on the target and then give that a bit of a guide to what you think the wind's doing?
100%.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that really quite prevalent on the rimfire match that I shot. There was one particular stage at about 75 metres, and you look at the target, there was like 2 impacts on the right-hand side of the target, and the left side of the target was grey.
Yeah.
It was like someone put a piece of masking tape down the middle and only painted half the target. It was unreal like that.
On Saturday, which was it was the centerfire shoot before the rimfire shoot, and I wasn't shooting. I was ROing that one, and we came to the last stage. In the 7th stage, both squads came together and we shot together because it was a 20-second stage, 5 shots, 20 seconds at 500 metres. Right, reasonably generous plate, but you just needed to rattle them off fairly quickly. So good, competent shooter, should be no problems. At least get 3 hits out of 5, probably 5. And as newer guys were going, they should at least get a couple rounds off and go from there. So it wasn't a hard stage, good fun stage. And so fun that we got through 13 or 14 shooters, and I'm like, has anyone got a spare gun that I might be able to have a crack on this stage with? And I'd spotted for 12 or 13 people at this stage, and all of them left and high. All of them, left and high, left and high. And plenty of guys hitting, but all of them. Except one dude, like Dave Pearce, every shot right in the middle. It's like,
nice.
that sounds about right for you. I think he won, actually. No surprise there. But anyway, Greg Hamilton pops up and goes, I've got 10 rounds that I need to burn off. I don't want to take home with me. I'm like, cool, I'll use 5 if I can. And only because I took 20 seconds to play with his gun to get to the trigger, and then also because I'd spotted for 13 people, I managed to put 5 pretty much on the centre for exact reasons that you're talking about, Bronte, where I'd watched so many guys, they're all left or slightly, just off or on the left-hand side of the target. So I aimed far right.
Yeah, that's right.
And put them all on the middle. And I went, and I think I did it in 12 seconds or something, and people were like, oh, wow. I'm like, I cheated. I
was just watching everybody else.
I hit him, but I only hit him because I watched 13 other guys go and do it. So, yes, it has a big advantage. And that's where we had Travis Harris in here last night. We're doing a live video. And one of the things that we're talking about some equipment he was thinking about buying was one of them being binos, because it is really advantageous to watch 3 or 4 shooters in front of you. Not only watch what they do, but watch where their bullets go.
Watch what the dust does when it gets around.
Because there is a real, some ranges, you're never going to pick it at switches too much, but other ranges, might get a good consistent win for however long, and you can get a bit of a feel for it. Bernardo's probably a little bit more like that. It's not quite as switchy as some ranges.
Yeah, it gets windy, but it's pretty consistent.
You get a bit of movement in the wind, but you don't get like real switchy winds.
It's not, now it's blowing left, now it's blowing right. It's kind of
it's it swings around a little bit, but anyway, that's cool. Good. So Meltdown was a good experience generally all round. Food was so good Saturday night. You were there for that, Andy?
Yep, that was great. Those
American
boys did a good job.
American barbecue. That was those boys are competition barbecuers, and that was
Wasn't much left over, I think.
There was none left over.
So the report that I got through the person that cooked it was that there was 55 of you or something like that, and he'd catered for 85.
All right.
That doesn't surprise me at all, actually. That was really good. That was really good. Do that again. Yeah. Actually, he came out he was there on Sunday.
Yeah, he was in our squad. He
cooked. Right. We often have a barbie at the range for the matches, and he cooked just the standard barbie.
Oh, he complained bitterly about having to use gas rather than charcoal, though.
Yeah, that's right. But
hey, don't blame him.
That was the best damn barbecue we've ever had at the club as well.
That's true.
It was good. Good. All right. Sweet. The other thing that was in there we're still just like reviewing what happened the last month. It's been a big month. Hunt Expo, went over to Hunt Expo in Melbourne. That was like the weird offshoot. Someone else started type thing out of Shot Expo, Hunt Expo. Anyway, it was a good show. They had about 11,000 people come through the doors over 2 days. I did notice selling projectiles and selling scopes that I got asked for a lot more hunting projectiles and a lot more hunting scopes than I normally do at those sort of shows. Don't sell too many target sort of gear, but heaps of ballistic tips this and SSTs that and all that sort of gear was really popular. Accubons and Barnes.
The old ELDXs?
Little bit, yeah.
I've got to say those 143 ELDXs are the most horrible projectile on game I've ever seen. They
really?
Just destroy things.
I wasn't sure where you were going there. I was like, yes, I use them.
They're vicious. They're absolutely vicious.
Well, that brings me to a point I wanted to bring up because there's a few new products around and finally has hit the 90 grain ELDXs here in 6mm. I am wondering, because probably the most popular projectile sell-through projectile warehouse is 87 grain VMAX, 6mm.
And there's a really good reason for them because they're the best BC projectile that you can stabilise in a 1 in 10. That's relatively easy to get your hands on.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm wondering whether these are a contender for that. Andy, do you want to reach into that cupboard over there? You should have enough room on your earmuffs, or maybe not. And next one along, yep, somewhere there. So the Hornady rack you see directly in front of you should see 6mm, should be some ELDX 90 grainers. I was going to see what they did on what they recommend twist rate.
Pretty embarrassing if it wasn't on the box.
It's not on the box. No, not on the box. Therefore, it works in everything. That's how these things work.
Because I previously, when I saw they were coming out, I did a little bit of research and had a bit of a look on their website, and there wasn't anything up at that stage.
No,
that was a little while ago.
All right,
because I'm particularly interested if they do stabilise in a 1 in 10.
Absolutely. Andy's put his head back in the cupboard. He's now we've lost him now.
You might need to do a stock take after he's gone in. Check his pockets on the way out.
He's found something else he likes. What have you found, mate? 95 grain in the nozzlers. He's trying to work out if they're going to stabilise. Doesn't look like it's got a recommended twist rate, which usually would mean it'd be working default. But I guess anyway, someone will tell us if you're listening, you've tried them, or you want to try them. But anyway, if you have tried them,
Projectile Warehouse have got them in stock.
check them out. That'd be good. The other thing, while we're on the Hornady webpage, I see that some of those A-tips have started arriving in places in the US. Unfortunately, not here yet, but some places in the US, and the reviews are starting to creep out a little bit about them. Apparently good, Bronte.
I've heard that, and apparently they're pretty good on game as well, which is not unsurprising. But hey, if you're pushing that distance, you're looking in that ELR territory. You
Good consideration.
It's definitely worth it if you're getting the extra consistency that they're spruiking.
Yeah. It'd take time to see, or hopefully we get them here shortly in Australia and we can check for ourselves. But certainly. I mean, they're more expensive. We all know that. That's the way they're going to be. But
but if you want quality, you pay for it.
Yeah, that's apparently
pretty much how life is, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's it. Speaking of quality, also have this is the sponsor's plug. This is the actual little plug for the Harris bipods. Finally, have some mono. What do we call them? Podlocks. I don't know what you call them. The little levers to allow you to lock down the cant or not on the swivel bipods. So
an absolute must-have for a Harris bipod.
Yeah, for $25 or something like that. They're really good. They're really good. They're really good. I've had one for years and been like meaning to get them in stock forever. And then someone actually went, I need 2 of those. I went, yeah, this is probably a good excuse to actually start getting them in.
Absolutely.
The other thing I saw that the LA 105s from IFCO are actually starting to ship next week. So we should start seeing them pop up at comps over the coming months.
It'd be great to see.
Finally.
Really good to see.
Yeah. Because I remember doing a podcast about them a couple of years ago now, and I was really excited about them, and I guess still am. They look the goods. They're meant to be good. I've seen plenty of accuracy reports from the from guys I know that work at Lithgow, and they shoot real well. So that's exciting times. Hopefully some of our listeners will be able to have them on order and tell us what they're going like. So send us photos or anything
absolutely.
like that.
Yeah, it'd be great to hear about them, and it's good to see a Australian made product. And it'd be great to see it on the line, because I'm guessing that it's going to be a pretty good contender. Yeah. I mean, you really look at what you've got in that production class.
Yeah.
Options wise, obviously TAC A1s are a pretty good rifle for sure. They're a great rifle. I think you run one of those, don't you, Andy? Yeah,
mate. Thanks.
Sharing the love. Yep. Yeah, but it would be great to have the Lithgow there as another option.
Absolutely.
Particularly Australian painted angle. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing biased at all.
No, not at all. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I was just saying, is the chassis and stuff they sit in, are they aimed more towards the?
It's a KIG X-ray chassis. So
they got the integrated rail and all that sort of stuff, or is this just before?
Yeah, the whiskey is, I reckon, now have the do they have the Arc Rails, the Gen 6? I don't know now.
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Someone hit up Danny at Delta Tactical and ask him. I'm sure he'll tell you. But no, the X-rays are like the cheaper variant of that chassis, and they're a good solid chassis. They're just made to a bit of a cheaper budget. So yeah. Now you guys were talking about something from MDT before. What was that?
Oh, I saw they've brought out a little Arca rail attachment.
Okay, let's Google that. What was going on there?
Was that for the ESS?
Yeah. Just I was pretty sure it just bolts straight onto your M-lock.
Oh, an M-lock Arca rail from MDT.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You're thinking about one of these, are you?
Oh, I was looking around for Arca rails. Yeah.
Is this the thing you're talking about?
I think it's only they're just a short piece. Where I was looking at something to go full length.
Ah, right. Then you'd be out of production if you do that.
Would I?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
just so you know.
Damn it.
That's all right. You can go and play in the big leagues. Sure. Yeah. So, okay. It looks like they do up to 10.25 inches. There you go. They do a few different options. So from MDT, M-lock Arca rails. So check out. Brilliant. All right. Oh, cool. Any other products, guys, that you've seen? It's not really time for products, is it? It's just a few things pop through. No. Excellent. Hey, I'm back training again, sort of.
Please explain.
Yeah, we at the club. The club is doing a training course.
We really needed a Pauline Hanson. Please explain them. That would have just been sensational.
Yeah. I mean, the look in your face is pretty good, but that doesn't really work across on a podcast.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So, we're going to run a training course at our club. Probably by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be like a week away. But anyway, hopefully if that goes well, some guys. I think the reason why, certainly that I noticed, a lot of guys are at our club or come to the club and watch and observe and such, but they don't know how to generate the data. They don't know how to sort of do a basic, don't really have a good understanding of how to engage with the barricade or even sort of a good understanding of fundamentals. So it's just really about getting some of those. It'll be relatively light on, but it will be. I mean, it won't be like a full intensive course. You can only teach so much in a day, but it'll be a session on some fundamentals and then some session on obtaining data and generating drop charts and such, and then some PRS-y type stuff with some of you guys as well in the afternoon. Something like that, I think.
Be a top tips session.
Yeah.
I think,
or second-rate tips session, perhaps, but
third, fourth, fifth, tertiary, somewhere down there.
I'm still trying to learn my tips.
Good. I'm just making them up. But the idea is, to get those guys who are unsure about actually having a go at the club level in a position where they feel they've got enough knowledge to at least play the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the things that I think is pretty important is being able to come up with a bit of a strategy for a stage.
Sure.
Kind of look at a stage, look at a barricade and go, well, hey, this is a really horrible shooting position. I'm not going to be able to get very good accuracy there, but I've got to shoot 2 shots over that before I move to that prone position over there where it's a really easy target, really stable. Well, I'm just going to rattle those first 2 shots off, and if they hit, woohoo. If they're not, well, who cares, because I was probably going to miss them anyway. So I've got more time to make my last 3 shots count. And some of those sort of strategy things are probably worth
Yeah, and I think even if you're in the habit of making a plan for a stage, even if it's a bad plan, at least being in the habit of making a plan, going ahead, attempting to execute it, goes poorly, cool. I won't make that plan again, but I'll learn how to do it this way. So I think all those sorts of things should be good, and all it is to get some guys over the line from I don't really know I don't know how my gun works at 300 meters, so I just won't compete. Well, all right, no worries, man. How about if we teach you how to shoot at 300 and 500, then will you play the game and come out and play with us? Shoot.
Absolutely.
That's it. Even if you do have like just a simple duplex scope with turrets, I mean, you're going to need something.
Depends how creative you want to get.
I don't know what these noises make, but that's what I mean. But you can certainly.
It's a challenge it's almost a challenge accepted moment.
You can pretty much get a good 5 solid aiming marks out of a standard duplex reticle easily. So, little things like that, like you've got that gear, cool, man. If you zeroed at this point, here's what would happen, and you can make it work. You can make it work. So,
but if you look up a lot of those duplex reticles, they're actually will tell you the size of that square.
Yep.
So you can correlate that back, because most of those duplex are second focal plane. You can correlate that back to a magnification, so you can actually know what your hold needs to be. So you can go, well, I just actually aim at the base of where the duplex turns into the fat part on 9 power, and I'm on it 300 meters.
Yep, and wind it out to 7 power for X and whatever it is. So there are all sorts of ways to play with it. So
there you go.
Well, any other questions, Andy? Or we just shut you down?
No, you're
sorry,
right.
man.
Someone's got to ask the questions,
It's absolute, and Dudgie's not here, so someone's got to do it. Right. In other exciting news, more exciting news perhaps than that, and he's braced himself. He's sitting down, mate. SSAA Eagle Park are kicking off practical shoots on hopefully what will be a regular basis. Bit of a test shoot up first, which is this weekend as we record this, meaning it's the
long weekend, wouldn't it?
Long weekend. Yeah, it makes it Saturday the 8th of June is the first shoot at SSAA Eagle Park. And so congratulations to Andrew Iguden, who has done a huge amount of the back end of work to make that happen, as well as Dave Acker, who has done a bunch of work on course design and stage design and rallying the troops and getting all the crew together to make it all happen. So between those guys and certainly others involved in there, I want to say congratulations to you guys. Hopefully it's a really good shoot. They did indicate that they reckon about 30 people for their first one.
Gee,
it's a good turnout.
It's a great
very good turnout.
Hopefully they get it. I was debating whether to go over, but it's not going to work out. Spend enough time on the bloody road driving around to comps and gun shows that I've just had
Pretty
4
full
weekends.
Calendar you've got on the wall there.
Well, June is my quiet month from travel. I have no travel apart from PRS at the last weekend, and it sounds like I've got nothing to do, which would be wonderful, except you know how these companies decide that they've got firearm policies and they really don't like anything to do with guns? Well, the company that runs the back-end website for Projectile Warehouse and Scoped Out is one of these companies that starts getting tighter and tighter with their firearms policies. So I'm spending all of June moving.
Awesome.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm so jealous. I hope you can hear it in my voice. It's just, I can only contain my excitement.
I can tell, mate. I mean, look, if you want to come around on a weekend and help out, you're welcome to, dude. Yeah, I want to put that offer to you.
Yep. Cool.
Surely noted.
Yep. Awesome. Lock it in. It was next year, yeah?
Yeah, next June. So I am currently in the process of moving websites, which anyway, found a good company that seemed to be all okay with firearms and no problems with running websites that are related to that industry, and in fact encourage it. They actually see it as one of their
niches, really.
Perhaps not something what they tailor specifically to, but they know that they've got quite a few customers in that area that they don't want to do anything to. They want to keep them. So really good to do that. Australian company as well, which is
even better.
Wonderful. So anyway, that's my exciting June. So sorry, guys at Eagle Park, or congratulations, I'm not coming. I'm not sure which way that goes, but either way. Go on, Bronte. You're going to give me a hard time there, aren't I? Anyway, sounds like you got out of this fairly well, guys at Eagle Park. Good luck. I'll be back there in end of June, and we'll make up for it then. Gents, we had a question come through on email, which we do like questions that come through because they give us something good to talk about. So a guy called Tom emailed through, and he had a question which I thought would be good for a discussion on tonight's podcast. He's only recently found the joys of podcasts and such, only up to episode 70. Oh, he's going to be disappointed about 39 episodes as he gets to know the crew, and then it all changes. But anyway, here you go. Please forgive me if this has been covered in other podcasts I haven't gotten to yet. I've been shooting for a while, but only amateur level compared to where I'd rather be. That's all of us. Mm-hmm. I've started with some mates with a 22. I've done some traditional peep sight, jacket, and sling type small bore. I shoot pistols, and I've got some centerfire rifles that far outshoot my current abilities, and the Defence Force threw in their outdated ideas as well. Question to you and the team is regarding a best practice zeroing distance. I remember reading an article a while ago arguing against the traditional 100-metre zero, as it has no bearing on distances in practical field shooting, and rather suggesting that the zero distance should relate to the external ballistics of the round you're using. Unfortunately, I've got no idea where I read this and can't seem to come up with a decent answer for it myself. I only recently come across the Applied Ballistics software and transitioned from hillbilly ranging to actually utilising purpose-designed equipment. Sounds like a good upgrade. So given the more widespread availability of precision equipment such as rangefinders, weather meters, chronographs, and ballistic calculators, is 100 metres just too easy and so commonplace that it isn't worth pushing against? 2, is there a different best distance to zero at for all firearms? And 3, is best zero distance a function of round and purpose? From memory, the argument was suggesting something like zeroing at the distance where the projectile was at its maximum height above bore, or when it crossed bore height. I think he means sight height on those two, but we'll come back to it. Yeah. Again, on the way back down. But I can't remember much more than that. I hope you guys have some ideas on the subject. We'll make something up. And
have an opinion at least.
Yeah, all that sort of gear. So let's break it down really simply. He's obviously looking at different ways and zeroing. 100 metres too easy and so commonplace it isn't worth pushing against. Let's deal with that one. Any guys got any thoughts on that? Eddie's handballed that one straight to Bronte.
Cool.
Or do you want to clarify any of the question first? Do you want to?
Well, to be honest, I actually think that one of his latest statements
the
about
third one?
is the best
zero distance a function of round and purpose?
Could not agree with that statement anymore.
Yep.
I think that is exactly right. It is a case of function and purpose. What you want to do with it, what that round is. General rule of thumb for a centerfire.
Yep.
100 metres is a good distance to zero at. And even if I was to have a 200 metre zero, I would actually establish a 100 metre zero first, and then wind it out to 200 metres or 300 metres or whatever it is. And then, re-zero, keep that as my zero. The logic behind that is 100 metres is that really sweet spot between, if you tried to zero at 1,000 metres,
yep,
the exterior effects, such as wind and all these other wonderful things that you can't control very well. Mm-hmm. You can estimate whatever else, but you can't control those.
Can't 100% guarantee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Come into play. At 100 metres, if you get any old ballistic solver and type in a 10 mile an hour wind at 100 metres, it doesn't move the bullet very far with a centerfire.
Yep.
So basically by giving you a 100 metre zero is a pretty good way of establishing a windage zero. Mm-hmm. And then as far as your vertical zero, for a competition gun, all of mine are 100 metres.
Yep.
My spotlighting only gun, which is a 204, that's zeroed at 150 metres. Mm-hmm. And the logic behind that is, with that round, out to about 230, 240, which is pretty much the effective range you'd be able to do spotlighting anyway.
Yep.
I point and shoot.
Gotcha. So, but based on that, I mean, yeah, his point there is the best zero distance a function of round and purpose is what you're talking about there, where you've got one gun that's 0 to 100 meters, because you are using that in competition, so you need the tightest, solid, best zero you can, and then you'll make the scope do the work from there.
Absolutely, yep.
And then the other gun, you're putting into place something we know as, and you know as, maximum point blank.
I cannot.
Whoa, thanks, Siri.
Siri can't do it, but we can.
Okay. Well, good to know we've still got a few advantages over Siri.
She's so nasty.
What do you ask, Siri?
She just turns me down all the time.
Okay. All right. Now that we've got into Andy's personal life, maximum point blank range is obviously what you're implementing there, and I think that's what our friend Tom here is talking about. When he was talking about the zeroing should relate to where is it?
Towards the end there.
Yeah, that's it. Maximum height above sight, or when it crossed the bore height again. Do you want to explain that one? Yeah, sure. So I mean, Andy was asking us this question before about maximum point blank range and what it is. So let's say that you are shooting something and your effective kill zone on that is 6 inches. Fair distance. It could be 4. Changes on the game, but let's say it's 6 inches. So you are effectively trying to get your bullet to not go above or below in its flight path 3 inches up, 3 inches down, and have that sort of be centered on that, so that your 0 point will actually maximize your point and shoot range. So you can pretty much point and shoot like Bronte has. 150 0 gives him that his bullet won't drop outside of that kill zone until about 230 meters. So anything within that 230 meters with 150 meter 0 will go within that 4 inch.
Something about like that.
Whatever his designated
inside a
amount.
fox, basically.
Yeah, basically inside a fox. It won't deviate beyond that either side from that 0 point. So you don't aim a bit high, you don't aim a bit low. You just aim on the fox, and as long as it's within the distance that you're aiming for, you'll drop it. Assuming you do everything else right. So it's is that a good way to zero? Yeah.
For a hunting rifle, absolutely.
It's a really sensible way to zero, because especially in the scenario where you're just going to be point shoot, you're not taking time to dial, to hold over, to do this, to do that. It's a really accurate way of doing it. As long as you match your game with your setup, there's no point going, oh yeah, this will be for deer, and giving it quite a larger, sort of kill zone, and then shooting rabbits with it, expecting the results to correlate, because rabbits are
not going to happen.
That's exactly right. So as long as you're setting it up with the minimum game in mind. So if you're going to go and set up a spotlighting rifle, and you set up and you know you're going to see a lot of rabbits, set it up based around a rabbit, because it'll be fine on a fox. In fact, you'll probably get a bit more out of it on a fox than you would of the rabbit. So, Tom, that's a really sensible way to do it. You see that on deer guns, on all sorts of stuff that are point and shoot. But to come back to sort of the comp rifle stuff and the long range sort of gear, what do you zero your gun at, Andy?
Yeah, I have even my hunting ones at 100.
Yep.
Mind you, they're all adjustable. But when I do go out spotlighting, I know that my 0 stops at 100, and then while I'm out spotlighting, I'll just wind that up a couple of clicks to, maybe 1 MOA.
You're probably doing the same thing, aren't you?
Yeah,
which is effectively zeroing at about 200, I think.
Yeah.
And that way, I know I've got my solid 100, and then at night time, I just a few clicks up, I'll put the cap back on, I'll leave it, and I know that I'm going to be pretty well spot on. So
you're probably actually using that same theory without actually
Exactly.
realising you're using that theory.
Yeah, so I'm a genius. I just do this shit all day.
This is just your thing, mate.
Yeah.
It's just being so smart.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But
yeah,
your comp gun's 100. Why
Yeah.
do you zero at 100? Here comes a big question.
I think that's where the paper's set up, isn't it?
Probably the laziest answer I've heard in a while.
That's wonderful. That's yeah. Why have you guys got a 93 meter 0? It's just
where the paper was.
couldn't be bothered walking any further.
Didn't you you have that at the Kai place? It was like 90.
It creeped.
Yeah.
When we built the bigger mound there. It creeped down to about 98 meters. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it was a 98 meter zero. That is correct. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I think Bronte, you covered it pretty well in terms of why 100 meters, because this takes out so many variables. It's an easy way to zero and guarantee it. I mean, certainly guys shoot at 0 at 200 meters, but in comps you sometimes find that you engage a 100 meter paper target. You know, it's certainly, I know Butters has done that in
the
Darwin comps
with a dartboard from memory.
Yep, absolutely. So you certainly do see. That sort of stuff. So having that brought down to the minimum distance can be really important. I think the more important thing is that you know where your zero is and that you know how to adjust off of it to accommodate whatever you may engage.
And a very, very close second would be you have an actual proper zero, not a I've shot 2 shots, they went at about the same spot. That must be my zero.
What's wrong with that?
Good luck with that one.
Hey, I came 5th in a match on that basis on the weekend. I mean, technically third.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the whole argument around you don't actually have a zero until you fired 10 shots and they all went.
That's fair, yeah. Absolutely. Well, we'll get into group sizes one day maybe. Talk about how many shots.
We're not F-class shooters, are we?
Who knows? So I did just before we got underway tonight. I did do a post up on Facebook, or I planned to post. So let's have a look at the results here. So I asked our general Facebook population where they zero their rifle, because we were tackling that tonight. So we had. What are you laughing at, Andy?
Oh, just
the gifts.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had 54 out of 69, 100 metres. Anyone surprised by that number? No. Probably more of our audience are, shoot a fair bit of competition sort of stuff than, and plenty hunt, but probably more do the comp stuff. We had 15 who zeroed theirs somewhere else. Now, I just noticed that Steve has commented that somewhere else. I reckon he's commented that because he doesn't know where his zeros are. More so choosing something else.
He might have been referring to a pistol or something.
So a couple of comments from some guys here. Kieran, regular friend of the podcast, 100 metres for centerfire rifles, 50 metres for rimfire rifles. Well, that's a good point. We'll come back to that. Brendan's depends on the rifle's use. I think correct answer, mate. Comp gun is 100 metres, while my hunting varmint guns are zeroed at further ranges for more practical use. Exactly what we talk about. Paul, it's not clear cut as at 100 metres. It depends on rifle and calibre. Yeah, cool. Maybe tell us what you're doing, but right idea, mate. Zach, 223, 243, 150, 300 Win Mag, zeros 250. Zach is very much a hunter. No Zach, and so those distances seem logical,
reasonable.
Sensible. Yeah. Marty, my flattest is at 175. So again, he's chasing that same principle, not working out where it would suit. Trav Harris, this will be a sensible answer. Most of the time I zero my rifle at the local range. However, I used a couple of hunting properties to check zero. Trav, where do you zero your? I guess I asked the question wrong, didn't I? Where do you zero your rifle? Okay,
classic.
Good, Trav, go back to writing matches, mate. Just keep off Facebook, perhaps.
It's enough internet for today.
That is enough internet today for you, Trav. The rimfire question. You boys all have rimfires to some degree. Bronte sort of has a rimfire, maybe. Might even have a zero on it. Annie, what do you do with your rimfire?
Yeah, just 50 metres.
50 metres? Yeah.
Not sure why. It's just...
Yeah. Same reasons as your 100 metre
where
zero.
the paper.
How many pieces of paper have you got?
One at 50 metres and one at 100 metres, obviously.
Okay.
2 pieces.
Why didn't you zero your centerfire at 50 or your rimfire at 100?
It's not that stupid a question, really.
It's where the paper was, mate. All right, anyway. Bronte, what about
for
you?
environmental effects, really. That's what it comes down to. Let's be honest.
You're just making that up. You don't even know what the environment is. So this is it's gone downhill. Bronte, rimfire, you're 50 metre. If you were ever to shoot rimfire, apart from borrowing someone's gun, what was the gun that you used on the weekend? Was that 50 metre zero, or did you not work it out?
I don't know. I think, so it was a second focal plane MOA scope that was on it.
Good.
Unfortunately, most of the targets were all at the same distance for a stage, as in like all the targets on the stage were at the same distance.
Yeah.
And Simon kind of dealt with most of that. I think it was 0 to about 40-ish, 45 meters.
Yep.
Yeah,
I've noticed a bit of a trend in the rimfire side of things. A lot of guys are doing 40 meters 0, and I think it's keeping it a bit more in balance than 100 meter on a centerfire and 40 on a rimfire, because a lot of those targets start at about 40 meters. That particularly in the PRC side of things, there does seem to be a little bit of a closer 0. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Frank Galley did a thing about it. I remember reading a year or two ago where he'd worked out what, in his idea of what the perfect rimfire distances 0 was to simulate your centre fire.
Okay.
But, you know,
do you remember what it was?
No.
No, okay.
But it was focused primarily about training for wind, because he sort of found that, you know, his holds relative on different, you know, 500 meter hold was equivalent to, you know, 77 meters, and 95 meters was X or whatever it was, which was quite an interesting article at the time. But I didn't have a 22, so I
moved on. I can't see it quickly.
It was on Sniper's Hide, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But it was a very good article.
Good article. All right, we'll find it and we'll link it somewhere. We'll put it up. I'm not sure I can find it quickly. Anyway, we'll get onto that. We'll get onto that one day, eventually. Good. All right, Tom. I hope we've given some more context and clarity around your question.
If not confused you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm okay with that. But hopefully we would agree with point number 3 that you made, is the best 0 distance a function of round and purpose.
Yep.
And the feedback on Facebook is backing up what we were trying to say, and our experience will show that. I mean, Andy, come and destroy us. Come on.
No, I'm just saying, well, I mean, I've ran with a guy out spotlighting, and he shot a cardboard box with one shot, and he goes, okay, it's hitting there, so I'll aim at that same point and see, you know, you take one shot and then that's your aiming hold.
Yep.
And then he's like, okay, it's about 3 inches low and 2 inches left. That will be my hold for tonight.
Yep.
And just ran with it. But I think just get your 100 meter 0 locked in, and then from there, if you'd like to dial up to your 200 or 175 or whatever, you can. And you just play with it. But at least knowing that you've got that solid 100 meter, if you ever need to go back to it, is handy.
I remember years and years ago, without when I didn't have guns, my dad had guns, and I just got my license, and I'd borrow his guns, and didn't want to play with, didn't understand scopes, didn't want to play with dad's scopes, so it was always like it's shooting low and left, so I'll just aim a bit high and right, and hey, there we go, we start hitting the target.
That's it.
And that's what you did until you go, oh, hang on, you can actually adjust scopes, and
that's what those little knob things are for.
Yeah, okay, all right. Especially when you own your own gun, and that's when it's a bit easier to do.
Yeah. But I don't think you're an orphan in that, because I know I was the same.
Yep.
I would get a different batch of ammo or whatever it was, and you'd, get up on the back of the ear. Oh, yeah, shot at that rock. Oh, yeah, it was a bit low. All right, no worries.
Away we go.
Or a bit to the left, and we'll see how we go.
Yeah, but certainly have done that in comps as well. But anyway, that's another story. That's another story.
You're not the only one there too.
Nick Halliwell, sorry.
Or when you break a scope.
I broke scope rings one night. One night we're out spotlighting.
That's impressive.
And I broke...
But were they like legit proper scope rings, or...
They were definitely round.
To start with?
Ish,
possibly. I broke one, and so I ran the rest of the night spotlight. It was only 22, so I ran the rest. I mean, 223. Sorry, 223 ish. It was a low power 223 without the 3 on it, and I just ran one ring for the rest of the night, and still hit stuff mostly.
Yeah, but 22 cable toss.
No, it was 223. Anyway, all right. Well, on that note, we shall finish up, guys. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for jumping on board, and we will do this again sometime soon. Cheers.
Nice. See you later.
Hello, Patreon supporters. This is a little bonus bit for you guys. Thanks for supporting us and doing your thing. It's awesome to have you on board. So I have a story about not having a very good zero, or not having a zero is probably more to the point. We were up in the Flinders Ranges years ago. The other guys are here still, Bronte.
Andy.
Yep. We were up in the Flinders years ago, and I was going to shoot a goat, and I was going to shoot a long way away. Well, at that time, it was a long way away. I was going to set a new record for me, which was around the 730-metre mark. It was going to be.
It's a good distance.
Yeah, it was good.
Good distance.
Good start. So we'd been out spotlighting all night. We arrived on the property about 1 a.m, spotlighted all night, and this was now about 8 a.m. We were cooking breakfast before we went to sleep. And I'm by the hut, and there were these goats up on the side of the hill. I'm like, oh, cool. Might give this a go. So we got the rangefinder out, ranged it in about 7:30 or details, whatever. And I went, oh, okay, cool. Grabbed my turret, started winding it around, and then realised, actually, I'm not sure. Hang on. I'm not sure if that was on zero or not. So I wound it back, expecting the zero stop to engage and to bottom out. And it kept going and kept going and kept going. I'm like, oh dear, this has not gone well. I have not got a zero on this gun, and I have no idea where it was or what it was doing or anything. But there's these goats up there that I don't want to let them get away, and I've got an opportunity here, so all right. Hey, Jordan, can you spot for me?
Oh, Jesus.
Yep, so anyway.
You just know the story's gone downhill when Jordan's involved.
I was still there though. So what we noticed is that these mob of goats were up on the side of the hill, but the other side, like off to the left of them, it was big and open and fairly, not horizontal, but a fairly sort of flattish, to the point where we could get good drop off that. And I thought, well, you know what? If the bullets are hitting there and they run away, so be it, right? I'm not going to aim at one of them to try and get a zero. It's not right. But I can aim 50 metres off to the left, maybe 100 metres off to the left. If they run away, they run away. So I thought, well, let's have a guess here. Pulled around and off the bullet went, and I don't remember. It hit way off, as you'd expect. But we saw it. And I saw it through the scope, and I went, all right, come up. This is probably back in the MOA days. So I come up, I don't know, 10, 15 MOA, whatever it was. Wound it all up, got it up, shot again. And, okay, that was in the ballpark of roughly where we were aiming. All right, someone choose a rock. That one there. Away we go. Bang. Yep, another one. I think about 4 or 5 shots into it. Finally was in a position where I was shooting now a comfortable – I don't know what I'm doing with the hands here. A comfortable enough group at 700 to take a goat out and putting 2 shots on that. I went, well, I've also just learnt the wind of what's happening out there, so that's really beneficial. So then I panned back over and went, well, 2 of them are dumb enough to stay there. So
They don't deserve to live anymore.
Right. Well, we've fired off 7 or 8 rounds through the 338 lap, and let's see if we can get a couple more. So I did proceed to then lock down my zero, went across to the goats and smacked 2 of them. And
Nice.
We went up there and they were as dead can be. And I was very happy with that recovery from no zero. I don't think I'd be able to do that again. I think that just
You
clearly
used up all your luck.
the wind must have been blowing the right way or anything on those lines. So yes, you don't always have to have a good zero to go hunting, but I highly recommend you do.
Awesome.
100%. Andy, any zero-less stories?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Oh, set yourself in, boys. Set yourself in.
One's just a quick one, which some people might find in like a rimfire match or something. Like I haven't got a rev. Like a rotation
Indicator? Yep.
indicator or anything.
Oh, yes.
So
know where this is going.
Yeah, so I've dialed up on the, I think it must be about 300 metre target.
Yep.
Started winding it back down and lost count. And then I think what I did was just the easiest sort of, just do a quick bore sight at about 25, 30 metres, and that got me on. And I was about 1.5 revs low. So that was a quick save. If you're ever like in doubt, I mean, you should be able to see if you're full rotation out just by bore sighting it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're on 0 and you're not sure and you bore side it and you're like, oh, that's way off, then you should be able to tell.
Should be able to tell. Yeah, good tactic. I like it.
My other one is like if you're ever after a good boost of confidence, and you got like
have Bronte shoot your rifle and nearly beat you. Yeah.
No, I mean like if you want a bit of if you had a low day and you want a bit of an up, and you got friends around and you're like, oh hey, shoot my gun, see what you think. If they're like, new to the sort of sport,
turn the windage one rotation.
Yeah, just crank one of the knobs, and obviously you'll know where it's shooting, and you'll be like, just hold high or low, and like you'll hit the targets, but you give them to your friends, and they're like, got no idea.
I'm glad this is on Patreon because that's advice that you need to pay for. You really need to pay for that sort of information.
And then they're like, oh, what's going on? I didn't think it would be this hard. And you're like, it's easy. Ping, ping, ping.
So that reminds me of a story back when we were doing Southern Shooters doing sort of public shooting range and we're dealing with bucks parties, right? Bucks parties are great. And so you'd have the bucks party and you teach them all how to shoot. They give them 20 rounds or something each and they'd all go through and hit a few targets, miss a few targets and have a great time. And then you go, okay, guys, serious now. We're going to have a competition. So you put the first guy who came up, had, I don't know, from memory, 5 rounds or 10 rounds or whatever it is. And that was the buck. You always make the buck go first. He'd go up and he'd shoot a few. Whether he hit or miss, you're like, well, you're in the finals anyway because it's a special day, so it doesn't really matter. He would then sit down, and the key was he went first, so he'd be sitting down for about 40 minutes, an hour. Everyone else went through and they hit or miss, and they end up with a bit of a leaderboard and who does the best and all that sort of gear. So then you'd take your top 5 or 10, depending on the size of the group. And they'd go sort of head to head and they'd knock each other out. And you'd end up down with a final of the group and then the buck. And you'd have a shoot off. Now, remember, the buck hasn't shot for 40 minutes or an hour. And so you'd put them up and they'd take 2 shots and then go to the other person and take 2 shots. And the buck would come up and usually they were doing all right. They're pretty excited and they'd listen to some instructions and come up, miss. Oh, okay, what's going on? And then the other bloke come up and go, bang, bang, hit. And that would repeat for sort of 10 rounds or so. And every now and then the buck would hit one, maybe, just the oddball. They might hit 1 or 2 and the other bloke's got 10. You okay, give the trophy and do all the celebrations, all that sort of gear. And then you'd slip the best man the cases of what the buck had done, which said blank on the side. And you're like, later tonight, you just show him them and you just reveal to him why he couldn't hit anything and the best man would be pissing himself laughing. I said, make sure you don't tell the buck and you tell everyone else until he knows. Nice. And of course, we'd actually generally prep that group so all the guys were in on it except for the buck when he's missing. And they're like, come on, man, try harder. You're behind him. And, of course, you'd slip 1 or 2 good ones in there so he would actually hit something. So he's like, what's going on here?
Can't be me. Yeah.
And I did get a few stories back where, he's had like 20 drinks for the night and then they revealed him he was shooting blanks and then they'd make jokes about his wedding night and all that sort of shit. It was a ball. It was a ball.
That's great.
Yeah, anyway, that's not to do with zeros at all. But, I guess that was his score. Yeah, that's probably relevant. Yeah. Any zero-less times for you, Bronte? Have you, or you've just always had a perfect zero because you're actually an organised bloke who cares about how he shoots?
I generally try to have a pretty good zero.
Yeah.
It's always within cooey.
Okay.
Different batch of ammo might be slightly off, but it's always within practical tolerances. I guess I had one time in a competition. I had my rifle fell over and took a pretty substantial whack on the concrete bench.
Oh, that would not help.
No, it didn't help, surprisingly. Who would have thought that, smacking spit joke on a concrete bench isn't good for it?
Amazing.
So I thought it'd be really smart.
Yeah.
Because the next stage, everyone was kind of sucking at and quite low scoring.
Yeah.
And there's this beautiful, clean fox target that was obviously for the next day. That was freshly painted, not a mark on it at about 150 metres. I'm like, I got a plan here. So I figured I'll stuff that stage. I'll just shoot the fox to get my zero back, which worked.
It's a sensible,
It was great. Except I didn't realise there was a bit rattling around in the scope. So every time I touched the turret, it was bad.
Yeah. 4 foot down onto a concrete might do that from time to time.
Hey, the mounts didn't break. Got to trust good sperm.
Good. Yeah, well, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So, guys, if you're listening and you've had bad zeros, it happens. It happens. And I've seen more people than I'd like to mention, although quite often the same person, in comps lose their zero and then have to spend 2 or 3 stages trying to chase it and find it back.
The worst part is that guy can actually shoot and does reasonably well when he actually has his shit organised, which is pretty rare, but he does do well when he does.
Yeah. Although, having said that, there are a couple of guys who are pretty notorious for it, so we may not have narrowed that down. But anyway, there are a few guys out there who certainly do. They do lose a zero, rock up to a match without a zero, or one of the classics. I remember this from back in the private comp days. They're like, oh, yeah, so I just need a zero up first. And you're like, mate, match starts in like 30 seconds and there's no opportunity to shoot. Oh, I didn't know that. It was in every email I sent you.
Oops.
Or that, yeah, PRS, they're like, oh, yeah, Saturday morning, can I just zero my gun? Sure, stage 1 you can. And maybe stage 2 as well. Yeah. Oh, anyway, that's all right.
I have actually collected velocity data mid-stage once before.
I seem to remember that.
Because I broke my gun.
Yeah.
Which is a fairly common thing.
Not a surprise.
Yeah. Funny how nobody seems to be shocked at that point.
One day we'll get into all your troubles of guns.
Yeah, I'm good at breaking things.
Yeah. Although your name's not Scott. So, maybe you should change it to Scott because then you'd fit in with all the other Scots that continually have problems with guns. But anyway,
maybe they should change their name.
I reckon you're right. I reckon there needs to be more Brontes in the world.
No, there doesn't. There's a reason I don't want to have kids.
You don't have to give them the same name.
No, but it's, the lineage.
It's in the genetics. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, yeah. That's how names are worked out. Yeah. Good. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, you had a...
I had to
put a chronograph on.
Stick the chrony on there because I was changing rifles mid-competition and didn't have any drop data for that particular rifle. So, stick the chrony on there and...
How'd it go? Recovered?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Because the first
it's
two shots...
when Bronte goes, I won.
No, well, I think I finished like top 3 or 4.
Yeah, right.
Which I thought was pretty good considering I swapped rifles halfway through.
And with no data.
Yeah, well, basically it was that particular stage. The first 2 shots of that stage were prone. So at like 500 metres. So I'm like, great opportunity to check my dope and collect it. And then, 2 shots, knock the bipod off, knock the chrony off and shoot the rest of the stage. But it worked.
Good. Happy days. Oh, there you go, you guys. So if you don't have a zero, don't worry about it. Just get stuck into it and shoot the match anyway. Although probably, I think, given hindsight, we'd all choose to have data and a zero.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Patreon supporters. Appreciate your support, and we'll be back. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast. To continue the discussion, check out our Facebook page. And for more information, head to our website, www.precisionshootingpodcast.com.au. This episode was brought to you by Impact Dynamics.